lovely wife, Rachel, was right over there. And I got a typing session at 5:30, but I thought I'd do a little bit of a live stream before then. Uh, I'm thinking that I don't necessarily have a lot of specific stuff that I need to talk about per se, but we are live, Casey Jones. We're live, we're living, and finally, for the first time ever, we know true joy. Why? Well, because talking with famous people is streaming. Hi, Acacia. Hello there, David Berzoda. Let me make the chat bigger. Let me embiggen the chat. I'm watching these Simpsons lore videos, basically. That, like, there's this guy. I've talked about him before. Happy Wednesday. Hi, Daniel. Very sports highlight. And falls in love with anyone more naturally if he stops jacking off. I mean, like, she's not expressly aware whether this is happening or not, right? Then no, I would suggest that there's. I mean, it's conceivable that a man with more, I guess, sexual tension within him, you might say, that such a person might be more like flirty with somebody than they might otherwise be. But ultimately, I think that whether a woman is attracted to a man has to do with things implicit in the person rather than um, like I mean, to a certain extent, the little particular stuff is going to matter. Like, let's say you just finished working out, and you've gotten a lot of exercise, and then you've cleaned up and stuff, taking a shower or whatever, changed clothes, and you're feeling like fresh and alive and healthy and energetic. Well, that might impact how you interact with somebody, and it might impact how you interact with them in a positive way, conceivably. But I don't think that ultimately being in a better place in the moment is going to be particularly determinate about whether the woman finds you attractive overall. One thing that I watched before I started streaming here was a video by Sidetrack Adventures about this biodome that they made in the 90s, early 90s, I think it was, in Arizona. And they attempt to recreate Earth. Like, they've got this one huge building that is filled with tropical forest, another that's they even have like an ocean there with a coral reef, or I'm not sure the coral reef is still there, but they had that. And they wanted to see if they could lock these people into these domes. It's kind of a test for like living on Mars. They were sealed airtight, and it's a it was a really interesting project. One thing that you wouldn't think about when you're talking about living in such a sealed dome, you think, well, okay, we've got water that's recycling, you've got plants that are producing oxygen and food, and a certain amount of living space, and etc. Biodome is a movie with Pauly Shore, and apparently it's quite terrible. Hi, lifetime listener. It's not soy sauce time, but I may cook some food. I should eat something before I do the typing session at 5:30.
Is it soy sauce time? Because we left the soy sauce on the.
Yeah. So anyway, one time you probably wouldn't think about when considering like making a dome that's sealed for people to live in on, say, Mars or wherever, is that there's going to be a substantial pressure change within the dome at between night and day as the temperature changes, right? So in this biodome they made in Arizona, they have what they call a lung room. And it's essentially a giant diaphragm. It's a big heavy 16-ton or something metal concave plate that is connected to this massive like rubber trunk that comes down, and then the plate will rise and lower, rise and lower according to the changing pressure within the system. Hi, Christopher. How are you? I'm glad to see you here, and I see that you are named Christopher. I let the cat in, so that was one thing I needed to do, so I got up there. Did I leave the torch outside? I guess I did. I'm doing pretty well. I've been worse. I'm feeling somewhat anxious because got a lot of stuff in the works in terms of stuff I need to do and so forth. For example, one thing that's happening today at some point is Cameron is meeting with Delilah to get her car and further the process of me getting her car, so I have reliable transportation that is my own rather than borrowing the neighbor's car like we're doing right now. Although we're renting it, I should send him another $100 here for starting tomorrow for another 4 days. Anyhow, yeah, I'm processing some stress, but other than that, I'm feeling okay. I did end up getting a fair amount of sleep last night, despite the fact that I didn't sleep particularly well during the nighttime. I I got up a little bit in the early morning, went back to bed in the morning, and slept a good amount during the day. For me, sleep is critical to how I feel. If I don't get enough sleep, I can be fine for maybe like a couple days not getting enough sleep, but more than that, and if I don't catch up quickly after that, then I'm going to incur some negative consequences. Tag team match for my YouTube championship: Christopher and The Undertaker versus CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Eliminated match. Not really sure what that means, Christopher. Despite what they say, you are a wonderful person. Well, thanks. I didn't even know that they were talking shit, but now I do. I'm glad to hear that you don't agree with their shit talking. Just desserts. I heard somebody do something today, which I hear fairly often, that makes me go like, oh. Should somebody use relevancy when you should use relevance? So like, the relevancy of that is blah, 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 blah. Hulk Hogan passed away. Well, he certainly had an active life, did a lot of things. He had a TV show for a while, didn't he? With his family? Like the Hulk Hogan family show. Kind of like the Osbournes, but with Hulk Hogan. For the little teeny bit of time in my childhood that I actually watched some wrestling, it was during the time of like the Iron Sheik, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan. There was like an Iranian one. I forget what his name was. Sheik maybe. And there was like a Soviet one, I think. His name I don't remember either. Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage. Barry Wyatt passed away. Eddie Guerrero passed away. Or they are passing away. Well, to some extent, everybody is passing away, in the sense that we're all getting closer to death every day. But I guess that doesn't mean you're dying of something that's different, you know. So the person I'm typing this evening, I've typed him before, but I guess I left a little uncertainty at the end of it, and he wants me to revisit the topic. Your grandmother died in May. I'm sorry to hear that. What do I think about Greenland? I mean, if you ask me, what do I think about U.S. designs upon Greenland uh, that are being led by Trump? I think just leave Greenland alone. I, I'm not that aware of exactly what's going on. Like, I try to avoid certain kinds of news because it'll make me upset. And your grandfather, known as Papa William, died on Tuesday a few weeks ago. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. It's green, duh. Um, that's the thing about Greenland is it's actually not very green at all. It's covered in snow and ice and stuff. Hi, Resitali. I'm from Mariposa, California, near Yosemite. And if you don't know what Yosemite is, it's got these rocks that people climb a lot. If you ever seen the movie Free Solo, Alex Honnold climbed a rock in Yosemite. I used to get it before we moved here, longer ago than that even. I used to get it confused with Yellowstone all the time because they both start with a Y. Both multisyllabic. One of them has 4 syllables, one has 3 syllables, so I guess they aren't exactly similar. But anyway, Yellowstone is the one with the geysers. Yosemite is the one with the rocks. Lulu's barking. Wonder what's going on. I want to go see. Let's go find out what kind of excitement is in the works over here. Clean off the camera a bit in case it seems like Jared's doing work with some kind of a power tool over there. You've seen Old Faithful? I've never been to Yellowstone. It seems like that's the most impressive national park is Yellowstone, but I've never been there. I haven't done a lot of like national park traveling, kind of look at all the nation's natural wonders, but I have been to Crater Lake. I've been to which is a national park. I've been to Lava Tubes National Park, which is in Bend, Oregon. Although that might not be a national park, it might be a state park. Not sure. But yeah, any other kind of national set aside things I've been to was probably Civil War battlefields with my dad when we traveled back there when I was like 14 to do that stuff. Super boring. You have a nice scape there? Nice landscape? Well, I'm not enjoying the sound of the leaf blower that Jared's using, so let's go over here. It is nice around here, for sure. It's like forest, basically. We do have neighbors and stuff, but we're kind of far away from them. We'll go over here to the deck so it's not so loud. This is the gully. I can't hear right now because of the leaf blower, but the stream, there's sometimes a stream that trickles down at the bottom of the gully. It's kind of a seasonal thing. It's probably stopped by now because it's been a while since we had any storms. And we don't have a snowpack to keep it going. It's nice and cloudy out today. Maybe we'll get some weather. I really love it when we get precipitation. I really love it when we get snow. But we do get snow sometimes occasionally. Greenland's population is less than 60,000. Well, I mean, I don't think anybody's disputing that the U.S. could conquer Greenland if it insisted that it must for some reason. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of autocratic bullshit like Trump's doing, and certainly I'm not a fan of let's return to the time of imperialism. It's like, I get it back then, people are operating within their time. But now is different times. There's no, like, there's no, like, let's wage war against Mexico to get California or something like that. It just seems kind of crazy to me. Sure, there'd be benefits to having Greenland, I guess, but that's why we don't use utilitarianism to make decisions. It's not a good idea to do something just because it helps you in some way. Like, maybe it would help you to rob all of your neighbor of all of his valuables, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing to do or a thing it's advisable just because you can measure benefits. Most of history's examples of horrible bullshit stem from this idea that you can justify things by pointing to impacts, and you don't need to consider legitimacy as a criterion first. But what are you going to do? People be dumb. People be dumb, do dumb stuff, say dumb things, justify things poorly, etc. We're all dumb in different ways, obviously. I'm incredibly dumb in some ways too. But you could just say we're all adult in some ways and we're all children in some ways. I'm an adult in not very good ways, like in terms of providing myself benefits, serving my own interests. I'm configured to be an adult in terms of like determining statuses of arguments and so forth, but that doesn't actually come in handy very much. Sure, it came in handy in my career as a debate coach, and my career as a debate coach has a lot to do also with just how adult I can be about that stuff. But if I'm not working in that field, and I don't have a law degree, it's not particularly convertible into useful impacts. Although typing sessions count as such to some extent. Greenland welcomes USA. USA supports Trump, Republican 26. But thanks, Vernon, for your input. Trump might be thinking, says David Berzota, of the future as the planet warms, Greenland might become temperate. Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of conceivable benefits for attaining Greenland, but like I said, ideally we behave with a little bit more legitimately than that, a little more legitimacy than that. What about Jeffrey Epstein? Hi, man. Hugh Board Deloy, 1440. What about him? No to fascist Democrats. Well, Vernon, I'm not a big fan of partisan team stuff. I think we can evaluate every policy matter on its own merits, determine what's correct, and that culture war, left-right boogeymaning is substantially the problem with American politics. So I don't think anybody would call me a lefty, but I am also not anything else. Like, I'm not conservative, libertarian, liberal, progressive, not any of those things. I'm gonna correct this. I'm correct about every specific issue. I wonder if we can buy it and have it be at least at face value its own independent country. Do I write with my left hand? No, I don't write with my left hand. I don't do much of anything with my left hand. I mean, I play guitar, so my left hand does that part. Guitar is an interesting thing for handedness because it seems to me that left-handed people could still just play it the way that right-handed people do because both hands seem like they have equal amount of things to do. So I don't understand why you have to have your dominant hand up on the fretboard and your offhand on the fretboard and your dominant hand strumming. It doesn't seem any reason why it should be that way inherently. Yeah, I'm right-handed. I know this is kind of a strange thing to say, but I almost wish I were left-handed because left-handedness is obviously comparatively rare, and there's various studies showing that it correlates with different kinds of creativity, different ways of thinking. It links diagonal to the dominant side of your brain. So apparently, left-handed people are more linked to predominantly right side of the brain stuff, which purportedly is like miggity meow meowgity meow. You had to postpone until next week? Oh my god. She does not understand how urgent this shit is. I'm gonna have to call her ass. God damn it. I cannot wait until next week to get this thing going. God damn it. What am I going to do about this? Ugh. That girl is trouble, trouble, trouble. Yeah, okay. Let me use Rachel's phone to call Delilah. I am streaming again, yeah, but just for a little while. I got a typing session at 5:30, so I'm just kind of killing time until then. Oh my god. Come on, Delilah.
My phone?
Yeah, can I use your phone, please?
You want my phone?
Yeah, please. Can you call her for me?
Yeah,
I'll mute this for part of this conversation anyway, but she probably won't even answer.
No. Do you want me to text? I'll just call her.
Yeah, call her. See if she answers. God damn it. I really need this dealt with.
Telephone number 31.
You can keep.
It's okay. Hopefully she'll call back. I'll call her up on my phone in a while, after I'm done streaming. Oh my god.
I mean, she's gonna have to know how big of a deal this is.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get her to figure this out one way or another. Like, it would be fine if she wants to either her or her boyfriend drive up here, pick me up, drive me back down there,
And then you do it.
and I can
Yeah,
deal with it and
right.
stuff,
Yeah,
But,
if that's the solution, that's something we can do.
yeah, well, I got to convince her that this is urgent enough that she has to actually take some action here,
Yeah.
So I'll need to talk to her. Oh, that's fucking just a kick in the nuts. This car saga just continues ever. I've been dealing with this since the beginning of December. And, it's costing me a little bit of money to rent the neighbor's car, which I'd rather not spend. Most importantly, I just want this shit over with. Being stuck in TE stuff for this long about a big problem like this is absolutely brutal on me. I fucking hate it beyond all conception. I hate it so fucking much. Well, it's absolutely brutal. Why does she want you to do it? I need to walk down the block to get the snail mail and I'm not into it. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day we can learn to work and play and say hello to everyone. What is it that I have to do exactly? Well, I'm trying to get Delilah's car, which I'm not. She says the check engine light's on. I'm not really sure what's wrong with it. I'm not even sure if it starts anymore. It's been sitting for quite a while. Um, and once I have her car, then I can finish dealing with the Mini. Like, I need to get the Mini fixed so I can sell it at least, right? And I've got to deal with that mechanic some more. I mean, I just need to have a working car. That's what I need to do. I need to have this thing resolved one way or the other. I won't know what I need to do in terms of the car until Cameron gets it and has a chance to look at it, maybe take it to his guy to look at the check engine light or whatever, and possibly put some money into fixing that. We'll see what's wrong with it. And best case scenario, there's not much wrong with it. Doesn't cost much to fix. We do that. It gets up here one way or another. I get Delilah or Delilah's boyfriend to drive it up here if possible. If impossible, I try to impose on Cameron to drive it up here because the only other alternative is me flying down to LA, and that's going to be needlessly expensive. Plus, I have to get to the airport and etc. We only have one driver in the family, so this is all complicated by that as well. Why can't she take it herself? Um, well, I trust Cameron a lot more than her to understand what's going on with the car, and I trust Cameron to take it to the right guy who's gonna charge a reasonable amount and hopefully fix it, etc. And I was anticipating that it's going to be very difficult to get Delilah to do what I need her to do in terms of handling all this herself. So I was I just asked Cameron to help with it because originally it was planned that I was going to go down to LA and deal with Delilah's car in terms of getting it ready to sell it or something back before my car broke down. But I can't get. Then the car broke down, and around the time when I was going to go do that, I no longer had a car. I had a rental car, but it's been a fucking nightmare from top to bottom. It's absolutely fucking horrible. And dealing with Delilah can be extremely frustrating. You know what, Cameron? Um, well, let me talk to Delilah and I'll follow up with you. I'm gonna see if she can like give the key to Candace or something, and then you can work with Candace on that. That'd be maybe be more efficient. Or I'm going to see if she can drive it up to your place. That would be ideal. But I will have to follow up with you on that later, obviously. It's like the biggest problem is I can't get this stuff out of my head. Acacia, maybe I will hit you up for some kind of assistance on this. Like, I don't know. Well, I'll have to talk to Delilah. But like, obviously, Delilah's not getting how much this is stressing me out. You know, when I had her get in touch with Cameron and schedule a time to meet, she scheduled it all the way to Wednesday. She scheduled it, and then she canceled and rescheduled. No, not acceptable. You know, it's like I need this shit dealt with. I need her to take it seriously. If she were having a serious problem and needed me to do something, I would not be this, you know, like uncooperative. All right, maybe I'll call Candace after this. College football is considering expanding the playoffs to 16 or 24 teams. I think 12 is enough. Do USC and Michigan really deserve to be in? Um, I'm in favor of expanded playoff. They could get rid of some bowl games and make it a 24 team playoff. That'd be 12. Then, well, you'd have to have 8 of them play in the first round. It'd be like 4 games in the first round. You'd have 20 though. No, I don't know how you do 24. You'd have to have a certain number of teams get a bye. You know. Yes, she has a car that she's driving. It's not that car. That car's been sitting for a while. I don't think her boyfriend has a car, but yes, it's conceivable that Delilah could do all kinds of things to facilitate this and be helpful, and that's not happened heretofore adequately from my perspective. You know, mostly I just need this stuff dealt with. Well, if you had 24 teams, then it would be okay to have some of those teams in there, right? Check the battery or the screwdriver right across the terminals. I have no idea what's going on with the car, and she doesn't either. She hasn't. It was running, but the check engine light was on when she parked it and hasn't been turned on since. I don't know, it was like 6 months ago, or maybe even a little longer than that. No, we don't need to mark for the car. Oh, it's like I can't move forward on lots of things, either actually or sort of spiritually, until I get this shit dealt with. And it has been dragging on for an interminable amount of time. The car busted beginning of December, and it has been unresolved now for almost 2 fucking months, despite my throwing lots of money at it and having alternatives, etc. It's absolutely fucking killing me.
Do you want to call Candace?
Um,
I have her phone.
oh, you have a phone number?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that would be helpful.
All right, let's do it.
Because if she's, were you planning on going around now, Cameron? If she's there now, maybe
Yeah.
maybe that can happen. You know.
All right, I'm
Right.
calling.
Well, she can at least check see if it starts. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna call. So if you wanna
Yeah. Okay. I'll mute it. If she answers, I'll mute it. Like I said, I don't know if it starts or not. Lifetime listener. So whether or not it starts is going to depend on whether it's worthwhile checking the battery. You know.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're
Yeah, Rachel and I Yeah, Space Line made up. It wasn't really like a real fight. It was just misdirected dopamine crush. So I haven't talked to Candace in a long time.
Okay, so I'm gonna text Candace.
All right.
What would you like
Just
to
say, hey Candace, this is Rachel. Can you give me and Eric a call about Delilah's car?
Hey Candace, it's Rachel. And Eric.
Sure, yeah.
What am I saying after that?
Could you please give us a call to talk? We need your help regarding Delilah's car.
Give to you about Delilah's car.
Yeah, or we need your help regarding Delilah. We need it, or you say, yeah, we want to talk to you about Delilah's car or something.
Okay.
Like that. That's fine. Oh God, how horrible. But being an adult, I don't like to deal with reality. I wish that it would just go away and leave me alone for a day or two. My car is broken and I live in Hoboken. I wanna go poking around inside the engine so that I could find what the problem is, but I don't know anything about that kind of stuff at all. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful night today. Oh, the moonbeams and the way that they sway in the palm trees. It makes me want to calm these bees who have become very agitated again. Oh my God, fuck my life. What is wrong with reality? I'm this close to believing in Chinese astrology. It's the year of the snake. It's the year of the snake. What you doing there, Jake? It's the year of the snake. I'm just a helpless pig. I can't handle this big boy stuff. I don't feel up to handling it. I'm just a newborn baby. I think that maybe I could eat and sleep. Those are things that I can do just fine. But gee, I don't think that I can take this line of events I'm currently dealing with. It feels like shit, and I don't think I want it anymore. Not that I ever did. Nobody likes car problems, but I have some car problems, and I want to go and solve them later. I'm a procrastinator, and car problems are super gay, and I don't like having them at all. It makes me feel so small, like I'm lost in the mall. 'Cause Mom and I got separated when she was shopping for sweaters at the Burlington Coat Factory that time. Why are you not stopping? Oh, I guess I pushed the wrong button. I was expecting it to stop there, but I pushed the wrong button. Christmas only comes one time a year, not unlike Thanksgiving, but there's something that's always near, something that's unforgiving. the rearview mirror revealing last time. Anxiety, always companion to me, sitting beneath any new wreath of joy. Oh boy, what an existential song this has become. Death is always nearing, coming ever closer. Soon we'll all be not alive. We'll wonder if we ever, in any endeavor, accomplished anything in our lives. And our headstone will read, walk quickly past me, for I am already dead. There's my, hey everybody, don't forget we're constantly dying. Yeah, that's not really true. There's a big difference between dying and getting older. It is true that as one ages, definitionally, one runs out of remaining time. But that's not the same thing as saying that, like, you're born with this much life and you use it up as you go. Because, of course, sometimes people die very young, like in childhood and infancy or what have you. And in those cases, you're not looking at a gradual march to mortality that uses up some amount of time they have. There's not any convincing reason, as far as I'm concerned, to believe that I won't live until I'm 200 years old. I very well might live that long. What will I be doing when I'm 200? I guess I'll just be, kicking it. Still YouTubing. I'll still have 20,000 subs. It'll be 146 years from now. And I'll still be talking about how, like, if I did YouTube differently, maybe it would benefit the channel. I'll still be discussing things that I ought to do or should do. And so I still want to double the car 146 years from now.
Well, I texted Candace, so we'll see. Get something back. She's probably at work, I'm guessing.
Yeah, she might be at work. It's 4:30. That's likely an accurate depiction of things.
Yeah.
Wow. How horrible. I have got to somehow get some cooperation from Delilah about this stuff. It's just like
It's
every time I try to deal with her, it's like pulling fucking teeth about anything.
Maybe I don't know how to make that better. But in this case, with the car, like, she definitely needs to know the scope of the thing. Like,
right. Yeah, I know.
I get it.
Yeah. Go hard as before, don't try starting a war because I'm hard to absorb like farts on the floor. It's kind of a little bit of grossness there at the end. But I guess not a terrible analogy / simile. Well, obviously now I'm kind of bummed out.
God, I wish I could help more.
Funny thing, I sent her a message, a voice message earlier saying like, "I'll talk to you later today after you do with Cameron in the car." And obviously I was wrong. Oh, I didn't put a space between A and pre. Fuck, I hate typing on the phone. It's so fucking torturous.
Well, I think that voice messages are a good way of getting your message through.
Well, in this instance, I'm talking about the title of the
Oh.
stream.
Oh.
If I don't have my glasses on, it's super torturous. God damn it. I can't believe oh my god. Come on. What is going on? What is APre? It's a pre-typing talk. So, you know, I'm going to have a typing session at 5:30. I just wanted to chat with people before then. But I didn't put a space between A and pre. Why not? Because I'm bad at typing on the phone. This car thing is like the slowest emergency in the world. It's an emergency in the sense that it demands my attention all the time. But it's, you know, played out over the course of almost 2 months now with no resolution and no clear answers in sight as of the moment until after I successfully get in touch with her. And I know it's going to be frustrating because she's going to be annoyed with me for blowing up her phone when I finally do get in touch with her. And of course, the only reason I'm blowing up her phone is because she's non-responsive all the time to my texts and stuff. She just ignores them. Super frustrating. I remember my dad used to get super frustrated with her about this stuff too. He had more leverage over her than I do. Oh. Come on, Chinese astrology. I'll be happy when the Chinese astrology year changes, so I'm in a neutral year where I'm not getting pummeled like this with horribleness. I had, I had equivalent problems with the first dentist where I'm sinking money into something that's not proving to be a solution. It's just the worst of the worst. It makes me feel like, it's one thing when you feel like in life you fucked up, didn't do what you're supposed to do. That's one kind of hit one might take. Like, for example, I forgot to take the trash up to the street this week, even though we only get the trash picked up every 2 weeks. So now I'm going to have to put trash bags from trash cans into contractor bags and probably make a dump run. And that's frustrating, but I have myself to blame, and I can conceive of ways that I can deal with things differently in the future that are better solutions, that prevent this problem from occurring again or something. I can try to learn from my mistakes. When you do everything that you're supposed to do, and you approach a problem with the correct solution, and spend the money to get it done properly and so forth, and it doesn't work, well, that is just like, you know, it's indicative that I'm subject to a just world fallacy. What types of do ENTPs best get along with, and what works? Trying to figure out my type by vibe. ENTP always fun. We always get along well. Typically, they get along. They get along with ISFJs, INFJs. Would be your first people on that list. They get along with ESTPs, but um, not likely to necessarily spend a lot of time together, ESPs and ESPs, because they both have FE third, so they're not really providing each other with what is a absolute value on the regular. I was having car issues all year last year. Too fucking sucks, ball sack. Yeah, it does. It's absolutely horrible. Find a construction site dumpster. I don't want to find a construction site dumpster. And the dentist didn't scam me per se. Uh, I just had to switch dentists after something didn't work properly. He didn't want to work with me anymore. So, and I need to contact him and get some money back from him because I had to have work he did undone by the new dentist. And obviously, I don't really want to fight with that, but I'm going to have to do that. I need to call the mechanic or contact them, let them know what happened with the car. So I haven't told them that it broke down on the way home, so I gotta do that. I have plenty of proof that it happened. I had to get the car towed and so forth. Fuck me in the ass. And I gotta get the Mini actually finally fixed so that I can sell it and get some money back out of this whole disaster. It's assuming I can drive Delilah's car. So I got all kinds of substantial things predicated on dealing with this, and it's just not happening. It's just the most intransigent problem I've ever encountered in my life. It could be worse. Things could be worse, sure. Things could be worse, but you know, for me, this continuing to not resolve the car problem continues to cost me money. Sure, I'm paying $25 a day to the neighbor to rent their car, and I could probably just rent it on days that I actually drive it and save some money there. But in December, I was renting a car from a rental place. That car was costing me thousands of dollars in total by the time I was done with it. And I need this fucking problem off of my plate. So it's not a running cost, and it's not a continuing unresolved problem. It's incredibly frustrating. Yeah, well, borrowing the neighbor's car is great. Um, I'm not saying it's the worst problem I've ever had to deal with. I'm saying it's the most frustratingly resistant to solution over a long period of time of any kind of problem that I've dealt with I can think of. Like, well, basically, everything's been super aggravated in this instance by the fact that we live so isolated from town, and uh, we have to have a car to do anything. We can't. It's not like we could rent a car for a day, drop it back off, and have the rental place drive us home. and go without a car for a couple of days, then repeat the process. We can't conceivably do that here because rental car places are too far away, and and anytime we need anything, we have to drive there. So yeah, things could definitely be worse. You know, I and if I'm comparing against somebody with big problems that are, are like, you know, horrible things like death or somebody cheating on you, divorce, moving, whatever, I would acknowledge that I'm not dealing with that level of stuff, obviously. I'm just dealing with practicalities. But, you know, it's hitting me exactly in my worst function. It's hitting me in TE, which is my sixth slot counter value, and SE, which is my eighth slot, also kind of counter value. Do you remember Hagia Sophia, Istanbul, 1453? That person, the place where your dreams, and my advice to you is to embrace Islam. Well, my advice to you is not to proselytize, because I'm definitely not going to embrace Islam. And, you know, I'm not particularly in the mood to talk shit right now, but if I were to talk shit about a religion, Islam would definitely be on the list of possible religions I might talk about in a negative way. Subjectively, it's not a small problem for me. It's keeping me stuck in attentional manners where that aren't very conscious, especially SE is not very conscious, and um, like having things that I need to do and complete that require a certain amount of interface with, like, say, calling the first dentist and talking to him about this stuff and that stuff. That requires me to interface with FE/TE and requires me to do it SE, requires me to interface in an FE way that I don't like, where instead of being likable or anything, I'm being demanding, insisting that I get what I deserve. And instead of actually doing those things, it converts into this SI thing of remembering to do them all the time and stressing out about it. So I just get stuck in absolutely the worst possible attentional manners for me. I don't know what you're talking about, but subjectively, it's huge. Yeah, well, we're talking about my ongoing car problems. My own feelings feel forced. Can you tell me some MBTI knowledge about that? Um, Feelings feel forced? I don't know what that means. Like, I mean, I don't think I can make myself feel a certain way. So I don't know what it would be like to force oneself to feel a certain way. It's all about my continuing catastrophically horrible car problems. And and the challenges of dealing with my daughter, who is, I have to bug her a lot before I get action, before I'll even get a response to my attempt to communicate with her. It's frustrating. So I gotta have to talk to her this evening, one way or another, get her to take some action here. The whole thing makes me feel pretty helpless, really. Like, you know, I'm reliant entirely on other people to assist in this, and it's particularly Delilah, and I'm just not getting the assistance that I need. That's whatever. It'll happen. She'll deal with it when I get on her case about it. Yeah, I have a typing appointment at 5:30. I don't have a car loan. I do have a car that's not running in the driveway. I may be done trying to put much more money into repairing the Mini, but I do want to ultimately, and I put a bunch of money into replacing the head and whatnot. Whatever is happening now is different than what was happening before. I don't know what's going on with it, but I need to get it operational. Ideally, get the engine light off and sell it so I can recoup some months money from this whole process. Otherwise, it was all just a straight up loss, right? I'm not going to be able to sell the car in its current condition. It needs to at least be running. So, I'm attempting to get my new car that I'm going to be driving, which is my daughter's old car that she's not driving anymore, and that's what's causing all the frustration at the moment. Is I need her to effectively behave as my agent in Los Angeles, and she's not doing so at the moment. I need to eat a little food before my typing session, I think. Maybe I should make something. Rachel is having, she's having.
Oh, were you thinking of making?
No, maybe I'll have one of those too.
Okay. I'll make it for you.
All right, thanks.
How long do you think I should put it in for? I like mine colder. It says a minute and a half.
I mean, give mine 2 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
Oh. With whom? Somebody I typed before. It's actually a retyping session. I guess I had some uncertainty regarding his type in the previous session, but I typed in as probably ESTP, I guess. I think he wants confirmation of that, or thinks he's maybe some other type. I think he got somebody else to type in after me, and then they said something. So that's fine. I can do that. I can do that. That's not a problem. Hopefully, I'll be able to be more definitive this time. I don't know if it was published or not. I'm going to try to watch and guess the type if I can make the time work. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be published or not, because that's I don't remember if he published last time. It might already be up. He might already have a video up there. His name's like Hussein or something, but he might not. If he didn't publish last time, then he probably won't publish this time. I got another one this weekend coming up. It's like, if I wanted to lessen my overall amount of ontological distress/stress, I would be spending this time making some typing videos, scheduling them, like making some typology style videos of some kind, either long form or shorts, and scheduling them and trying to generate more typing business. But apparently it's not that guy, David Berzota, as far as I can tell, because he said I typed him as ESTP with some uncertainty. Thinking he might be some other beta quadrant, possibly. So that would eliminate INTP. If I type this person you're thinking of as INTP, if you're talking about the guy who kind of fooled me and then revealed that he was INTP. I'm guessing it must be a different guy than that. The description of cognitive functions as ways of paying attention helps me to make mental maps of what a polar might be in terms of behavior. Hassan, huh? Well, I think this person's name is Hussein, so it's different. There was the one who was laid back, seemed introverted, but you said ESTP. Maybe I'll probably recognize him when I see him, but at the moment I have no idea who it is. Yeah, well, I think he was kind of testing my tests a bit, but the thing is, I wasn't typing him with the idea that the tests themselves were being stress tested. So, like, if I had known that was occurring, I would have been more. I would have done more robust testing in various ways, and come up with some more definitive answers. I was kind of bouncing around like I usually do, trying to eliminate certain things, get a feel for this or that or the other thing. At the end, when he said INTP, it was obvious, but I had gone astray in my typing. I didn't hammer down uncertainties enough with repeated examples of similar tests. It wasn't malicious. It was just, I just think he was sort of testing my test, testing my approach to see if it was revelatory by giving answers that were correct but somewhat ambiguous, perhaps. Like, he wasn't lying. He wasn't trying to game it in that way. He was just well, it's also the case that he was probably using his demonstrative 6-slot NI more than he normally would in any regular context, because there was somebody focused on him asking questions about it and so forth. One tends to use 2-6 when one feels the world is demanding things of you. I don't know how these mean, like, I don't think they mean malicious. It certainly wasn't malicious, but it was like he was aware of stuff as we were going through the typing that made my typing him more challenging. But I could be misinterpreting that too. It's like it could just be I just wasn't at my best that day, just didn't do a great job of typing him. Additional ulterior motives, yeah. I think 6-slot and 2nd-slot both are things that you use when dealing with the world, when doing some kind of work or addressing some kind of demand upon you, right? So generally people will try to address demands with their tool function first, but then they might, if that doesn't work, they're likely to go to their 6th and probably then their 3rd in some sense, because their 3rd function wasn't computer just scratching on the door? I guess not. I don't know what that was. Am I going to sing today? I already did a couple of terrible songs earlier. Stuff that I made up on the fly on the piano. Sad songs, laments about my car problem, which is giving me a great deal of stress. Let a friend by hunch over behind if JP loves me how I'm feeling, get me mad. Yeah, well, I don't know what your type is, Jeremiah. That might also happen, conceivably, in other configurations. I'm not really sure. I think that countervalued 6-slot FI, it's well, INFJs probably are at their most comfortable when they're engaging with things with their intuition, introverted thinking, or intuition combined with extroverted feeling. So, like, it's a configuration where they're most naturally receiving intuitive knowing that includes an FE calculus. Well, Justin Perch Tinsteiner, your god's a junkie, huh? What's he addicted to? What types eat tree bark? I think koala bears might do that. Maybe conceivably some kinds of termites or tree-eating bugs might do that. Thought you were eating mango chunks with chamoy. No, I'm eating miniature raviolis. In the year 3030, everyone wants to be a DJ. So you're saying that it takes 1,000 years before everyone wants to be a DJ? What's the evolution look like? Like, is it first that more people want to listen to a DJ? Is it that DJ technology becomes cheaper and more easily accessible? Humans can also eat the cambium of some tree bark. Evolution step 1, making beats in your room. When I have the keyboard play drum beats, am I being a DJ? Or am I just being a keyboard player? If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you could live off tree bark. They want to be an MC and a DJ at the same time? The master of ceremonies. That's a terrible joke, Putty Cup. Terrible, terrible joke. Beat soup. You know, I don't have to play pre-programmed beats on the drum either. If I had really good rhythm, I could just use one of the kits that's on there and play like kick snare or whatever. I want to say if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you'd be able to move mountains. Why do mustard seeds have a lot of faith? I don't understand that. You know, there used to be a saying about Jonah swallowed the whale, and the idea of it was some like atheist types were saying it was not believable that a whale would swallow Jonah and that then he would get out later, I guess. And they're trying to say this is an example how the Bible can't be 100% true because of this story or something. And then in response, certain Christians started saying, the Bible says that the whale swallowed Jonah, so I believe it. And if the Bible said that Jonah swallowed the whale, I'd believe that too. And then there was some, you know, pushback on that from some ecclesiastical circles saying, no, God would never put that in the Bible because that doesn't make sense or something. Anyway, it seems revelatory about the issue of faith, right? The people who understand faith as meaning what I define it to mean say, and if Jonah swallowed the whale, I'd believe that too. Who cut the soy? Ravioli is not really a soy food. No, I am asking. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm actually asking what a mustard seed has to do with faith. Like, if you're saying any given individual mustard seed is very unlikely to grow because of some reason, then you might be saying that the one that does grow did so because they had the most faith that they would. Jonah's story is metaphorical. It stands for sperm being swallowed by his furry mom. Does it? Okay. Whale veins and arteries are big enough for humans to crawl through? I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe back in the day there used to be a whale that's gone extinct that would swallow humans and then spit them back up later. Yeah, same species of whale existed in Pinocchio, I think. Imagine swallowing a camel spider. No thanks. I don't want to swallow any spiders. The only reason I could conceivably swallow a spider would be if I had already swallowed a fly. Blue whales are the largest creatures to ever exist. Well, I mean, they're certainly maybe the largest creatures that we have any indication of having existed by the fossil record or by extant creatures. But, you know, the Earth's been around for 4 billion years. It's gone through multiple entire resets of the planet, basically, with, you know, mega volcanic molten lava, miasmas, and so forth. So it's conceivable that there have been there's no hard evidence against the idea that there was an advanced civilization a billion years ago that we just don't have any record of too long ago for us to find anything that's an artifact of that or something. It's certainly conceivable. Largest animal is a rock in Asia. Rocks aren't animals, Justin. Okay? Rocks are rocks. Why didn't animals evolve to survive the lava? Atheists? That's not directed at atheists. It's directed at evolutionists. Even Simpsons tackled the issue in the same way of Lisa arguing against creationism as she's being taught that in her class. Even though, obviously, that's not an explanation. It's conceivable that the species were created by something, someone, something, but saying creationism is the same thing as saying, well, maybe some unknown force created everything. Like, like for example, if I were to carve some little figurines of a couple of different people, those figurines wouldn't exist until I created them, right? Somebody might say that, might speculate that, but we don't have any examples of new species being created. So, if one day you went down to the park and all of a sudden there was this brand new species and there's like hundreds of these blue cranes or something, well then that would be a good reason to think, okay, one way or another, these things are being created periodically by something or someone. So we don't have any examples like that. So there's absolutely no reason to conclude that species were created any more than there's reason to conclude. There's more reason to conclude, but it's misleading, that evolution is responsible for speciation than there is evidence for creationism. Creationism is just a conclusion drawn in the absence of evidence in its most defensible form, which is to say, given that these things didn't evolve, maybe they were created. Well, that's it's fine to toss that into the mix, but for it to be a meaningful explanation, we'd have to figure out who or what created it and how. We'd have to find out from them how life was created, and then we still have to find out from them or find out some other way how they came to be. Like it would be fine enough answer for a moment if we discovered that some aliens came down and did some genetic engineering, created all the species for various niches, created the niches and created the species, etc. And that would be a fine enough explanation for Earth, but it wouldn't explain where life came from. Oh, the Mayas family. Dixon, Fiston. What's that in? Those are the kids of the Mayas family. I believe Dixon Mayas is friends with Anita Dick and me, isn't she? Isn't he? They should get married and hyphenate their name. She'd be Mrs. Anita Dixon Mayas. She'd have to change her first name to I Need Some. Alien God is boring. Oh, it's not, like I said, it's not a satisfying answer because it doesn't address the question of where life come and how life developed. It just pushes that question back a level. York, last name Hunt, yeah, and Mike as well. Mike Hunt, York Hunt, and of course there's Herc. I don't believe in alien God. Yeah, I'm not looking for speculative answers to the question of how life came to be, where species come from. Mike is everywhere is obviously a real hero. along with his brother Hisk and his sister Hursk. Not to forget that old friend of ours, Racism. Yeah. Racism. I think humans are always going to want to know the answer to the big cosmological questions, like where did life come from? Why does it exist? Is it purposed in some way? I guess in the grand scheme of things, does any individual human life matter? Those kind of questions are going to be of concern to people, possibly indefinitely. And there certainly is the case to be made for some things that don't have great explanations. Like, it would seem to be morally wrong to engage in animal cruelty, but it's not morally wrong because it's a rights violation. And so one in those kind of instances might appeal to, like, I need some other kinds of some other kind of cosmology to inform about that.
Are you done?
Yes, thank you. Mike, I believe it's not mayonnaise, is a great guy.
Could you roll me some more joints?
Sure.
If possible.
Sure.
Thank
Let me
you.
go get some weed. And I've got about 15 minutes to the typing session. I can roll some joints. I fucked up my life stealing toilet paper from Telepizza and dumpster diving every day, composting my shit. I'm not sure how the composting comes into the whole thing. Let's go get some weed. We've all made lots of mistakes in life. Some of them with more lasting consequences than others. It's always going to be painful to experience the regret of one's previous mistakes. Hindsight's 2020, it's easy to see what one ought to have done after the fact, but you don't have wisdom until you gain it. And for some of us, people like me, we have a really hard time getting wise without making mistakes. You got to learn the hard way. I think is an undesirable verbal tick, like saying, if you get what I mean. I think it could be understood as such. It's not adding anything to the meaning of what's being said, but most people do have to some extent, I might call FE inclusions. Hi, Victoria. Irreducible complexity of creator, not evolution. The real debate is the nature of said creator. Well, it's not. I mean, we don't really have irreducible complexity. Hi, Radroach. And Victoria, hello. Has to be a designer. Well, it could imply it's more likely to be a higher order before low order, and low order does not create higher order designer as an empirical conclusion. I mean, the thing is, it's conceivable that scientists discover some sort of genetic mechanism that does explain how species became more complex from simpler organisms over time. It just doesn't exist in the status quo. So I think it's definitely not a correct conclusion to say that because not evolution, therefore creation. My friends and me are getting drunk and stealing from neighbor's garage. He's old and doesn't notice though. Don't do that. That's not good. It's bad to steal. It's rights violating. Obviously, everything I say is something I thought, so it's just redundant. Yeah, it is just redundant. But I tend to say it either it's an FE inclusion, it's it it can improve the fluidity of what's being said, just as transition things do, such as although it's also the case that yeah, you're qualifying it, right? You don't need to necessarily say have the although. You could just have them as separate sentences because you don't need to inform somebody that you're qualifying something with an although in order for them to understand that it's being qualified. But we say it anyway for fluidity and smoothness of communication, I guess. There's also things like, uh, if that makes any sense, if you know what I mean, those things are ways to soften the authoritative nature of making statements. So, like, it helps the other person view you as not too pedantic. I'm guard, not a cop. I'm getting typed by Eric on Sunday. Oh, cool. You're my Sunday. What are you guarding? Are you guarding your innocence from the realities of a harsh, hardscrabble world? That's worth guarding. I think you've done a good job choosing to guard that. Oh,
Thank you.
guarding the people who break the law, huh? From vigilante mob justice. Victoria is all that stands between those outlaws and a lynching. You know what job I wouldn't want to have? One of those British guys with a tall hat who has to stand completely still. I wouldn't want to be one of those guys. I don't think I could stand completely still for that long. Buckingham Palace guards? Is that there? I think so. Buckingham Palace guards are to guards as Clydesdales are to horses. In my town, the security guards got busted for sharing compromising pictures of the inmates. Yeah, well, it does seem inappropriate for guards to be taking presumably pictures without consent of the inmates and you know, passing them around or what have you. They only got busted because a relative of one of the security guards became a victim, so she blew the whistle. I guess that relative of the security guard was getting it on with the prisoner or something. All right, coming up on 5:20. I'm going to end this about 5:25, 5:30. I don't like guarding that much. I might be jumping into investigations real soon. You should start with like Hardy Boys level mysteries, like the case of the missing duck or something, where Old Mr. Granderson's duck has gone missing.
If Candace doesn't respond to me,
I'll call her on my phone
okay.
if she answers that.
Ah.
I mean, after I'm done with the typing session, I'll call Delilah first a couple of times and see if I can get through to her.
Okay.
But I'll also call Candace at some point. Even if I get through Delilah may prefer that I make this happen via Candace in some way.
Yeah.
But it's one of the big problems with TE is that it doesn't TI well. Like to a certain extent, it busts down into conditionalities, right? Well, after this, I'll call meow. If meow, then meow. But it quickly breaks down from conditionalities because most things you call and you're going to find out it's not necessarily a this or that thing, right? It's like you're going to have to interface with a person and with the problem to get it solved. There are certain possibilities, and you might be like, all right, so first order of operations is I've got to get this thing accomplished. Say, like, getting the car looked at by Cameron and his code reader and see what's wrong with it. And so then you say, all right, well, once I know what's wrong with it, I can make further decisions about what to do. And so you might take action to find out what's wrong with it, only to discover that you've got another problem in front of you you've got to solve, namely getting your daughter to do what she's got to do. Oh. TI subjective. That's so not the case. I need to get some more read here. I guess I better wrap this up, actually. Get ready to do a typing session. You were going to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, I wish there was more I could do to help. Like, I feel like helpless too, I guess.
Yeah, helpless and like disempowered in multiple ways because like I feel as though I'm stuck waiting to finish dealing with the car until it gets dealt with.
Yeah.
Somebody had typed before, but I'm not even sure if he wants to publish, let alone go type live. Can we do a live type session? We could. I'm not sure if I've really ever done a formal typing session as a live stream before. It'd be a lot of chat stuff going on, presumably, and that conceivably might. Well, if I were to include the questions from the chat, for example, then it would be somewhat different than my normal typing session. But I'm certainly willing to do that if you want to.
I agree. Just ignore the chat while you're doing it, because you don't want any influence.
Who's your grandmother's grandmother's? My great great grandmother? My great great grand aunt or something? This is impossible to solve, Russian boy. This doesn't have a real answer.
True. Yeah, chat questions at the.
Yeah, we could do that. Anyway, Victoria, follow up with me in an email. We can discuss it when we meet in the Google Meet on Sunday if we want to live stream it or not.
Thank you.
Guess I would need to use OBS to do that. So, but I could do that. Anyway, I gotta go now. I gotta get ready for this thing, and I love you all. See you later. Thanks for being here.